Hello and welcome back to the Growing for the Gold Success Club. I'm Justin and I'm really excited to talk to you guys about some great events that are happening in the cryptocurrency world right now. And first of all, before we get started, I just want to take a minute and thank all of you guys. I've had a lot of great conversations, a lot of great questions, and we're actually going to aim to answer two of those questions that we've had today. I'll introduce those in a second. But first, watch this short video and we'll jump into the topic of atomic swaps. Talk to you soon. So there were two great questions this last week that I want to talk about, and I think the topic of atomic swaps will help to answer a couple of these questions. So the first question was more of a concern, really. I was having a discussion with a friend who's maybe a little bit newer to cryptocurrencies, and he said, well, what happens? I mean, my biggest thing is I just look at this and the governments are going to shut this stuff down, and, they're never going to let anybody have control and other than them. And, so what happens when they start taxing it to death? And what happens when they start, putting fees on everything and they just kind of squash out cryptocurrencies? And, it was a good, interesting discussion. It was a fair question. But we'll answer a little bit of that and maybe a solution for that. Because we are seeing some of that right now. We're seeing that governments are starting to tax some of the exchanges and some of the larger exchanges where people are trading through. We're seeing fees and taxes and those kind of things happen. So that's a legitimate question, and so we'll answer that a little bit with atomic swaps. The second question that I received, and we'll also answer that, is with all these different tokens, all these different coins, all these different blockchains. Let's say there's thousands. There's over 1,500 at the time that I'm making this video, and they're just growing like crazy right now. But the question was, with all of these different tokens and cryptocurrencies, how is it, like if we were going to make a shift from the US dollar into cryptocurrencies, into a virtual type of currency, how could all these little small tokens and different things that have value all on a larger scheme work together to have more value than, say, the US dollar? And I thought that was a really good question. I mean, I kind of sat and dug into it a little bit and thought about that one. But I came back to this solution. And the solution to both of those questions lies in this project called Atomic Swaps. These things are not new. They've been in the process of companies and people have been trying to work out how to make this happen since basically 2013. There's been a couple small cases where they've actually been able to do this, and we're going to explain what they are and how they work and how they would answer those two questions going into the future. So first of all, what is an atomic swap? An atomic swap basically is like right now, if you wanted to exchange a Bitcoin for, say, an Ethereum, you have to go to a company like Binance. It's a centralized exchange. You go on there, you say, hey, I want some Ethereum. Somebody goes on there and says, hey, I want Bitcoin. And then exchange is made in the middle through a centralized company, and that's a key point. And they basically make that exchange happen for you, right? They swap out your currency. Now, to the first question's point, what happens if the government starts to fee and tax and, crush some of these central exchanges? Couldn't that really, slow down and kind of squelch out cryptocurrencies? If there's a central exchange, then the answer to that might be, oh yeah, possibly. You could do that. I don't necessarily think they can stop everything that's happening with this technology, but hypothetically, you could see how a government could manipulate and control through these central exchanges, okay? And so what an atomic swap does is it says, hey, what if you could make an exchange from one blockchain to another? And it could be any of the blockchains, but let's just say for example, that I wanted to exchange one Bitcoin for your amount of Ethereum. And there's two different blockchains. So an atomic swap would use basically like something that's called like a smart contract, or there's more technical names for that, but we'll just stick with that. And we make an agreement, and we figured out how to make your blockchain and my blockchain communicate to make an exchange of our currency the way we wanted to without having to use a central exchange like Binance, right? So basically it could be done decentralized from one person to the other anywhere in the world across any different types of currencies or tokens or coins that are out there. And it basically cuts out the need for an exchange at all. And so if you have everything in the process decentralized, you can see how the government can't control that. That would be a huge thing. And then to the second question, you can see how an atomic swap, if you could make these exchanges between all the different kind of currencies, and then once things are figured out and you can figure out how to exchange not only between different cryptocurrencies, but you could exchange between US dollars and euros and everything else, you can see on a grand scale how all of those pieces working together could theoretically replace what's going on with our US dollar or the regular paper currencies that most of us are used to. And so on a whole, this concept of atomic swaps is such a big key. It's such a big player in what's going on with cryptocurrencies because it's taken away the more control from the government, which is the whole purpose of cryptocurrencies in the first place, was to make it decentralized and not controlled by a single entity. And so an atomic swap, being able to do this type of switching from one currency to the other and having fair exchange value without having any centralized hackable government or exchange would be a total game changer. And that's where we're at. So just to wrap all this stuff together, right now there's some companies out there. There's a company called altcoin.io that has successfully beta tested and completed an exchange from Bitcoin to Ethereum. And then there was, not too long ago, a few months back, there was an exchange that was done from Bitcoin to Litecoin. And that was a huge step in the right direction. So the question is, are we ready for atomic swaps? I think the answer is yes. I think that's going to be a major game changer. And so if you're watching this video and you're looking at kind of places to look for investing or companies or people that are working on projects, that might be a good spot. I mean, I think the people that figure out how to utilize atomic swaps and make atomic swaps actually functionable and simple for the average person, that's going to be the next level of things in the crypto world. So I'm very excited about this topic. Hopefully this is, gives you a quick little overview of what's going on and the potential for atomic swaps. And that was what I was hoping to do today. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, you can put them below and we'll look to answer them in a future video. Thank you.